Y'all, I want to make this 100% clear before I actually shoot the video. The only reason I can, or quote-unquote would prefer, to conceal the ways that I am concealing is only because, like I said, as much as I quote-unquote glaze it, is because of the double single action function the gun has, which, you know, the only benefits with that gave this gun in particular, the Burst of Thunder 380, which I'm going to be using for the video, is that it makes me feel safer only because of the 12-pound trigger pull and knowing that the hammer also has to go all the way back and hit the firing pin before it actually shoots off on me. If it wasn't for those features alone, or at least I'd say around 6-pound trigger pull like a Ruger LCP, between that and a Ruger LCP Max and 2, and let's say a SIG P245 or P2220, not the P320, because those are the ones that be shooting themselves, the P2220, and those are just a couple of examples, or maybe even some types of revolvers, you know, the ones with the hammer on the back, obviously. One more thing too as well, although, you know, it may be obvious for those who new to gun owners or new to the channel, as I would like to say, obviously you need to practice quickly drawing from whatever position that you're gonna be concealing the weapon, whether that's as low as your ankle. You know, I've done seen people throw it in their jacket pocket, which is one way I'll also show you, and etc. Alright, one way. As you see, you can't see it. You know, yeah, I got on a belt. You know, you can look around all sides and shit like that. I'm not wearing a holster, you know, basically no form of proper gear. This is basically how I used to go to work. And, you know, as I'm pretty sure you're wondering, where the fuck may it be? Well, let me show you. As unconventional as that is, as much as you probably haven't heard it or seen it depending on where you live, this is a way that I've learned while I was working at work, and I was talking about someone about guns when around the time this channel had first started. And you know, for those who don't know, this is my first weapon, so of course it made it pretty easy for me to carry that way. The person who had the gun, which also showed me the way that I'm carrying, or just showed you as of now, had a Glock 43. And you know, even though I don't prefer those, like I said, double action trigger, those do have a dual trigger, which is an alternative. You know, they can be safe. I also, you know, regardless of what it is, I want you to also do your own research and, you know, also try your own things. Me personally, the way how I prefer to try it, if I'm not against, you know, not having one in the chamber, in my opinion, as long as you carry and have trained that way, it is dangerous as long as you know your limitations. You know, I've talked about this with a friend that was also previously on the channel. But if you wish to see if it's safe that way and you're willing to train, which also another tip though as well though too, I only want you to carry this way in very controlled situations. If you remember a video I had previously, I call it pocket rocket territory. You know, the nice areas, the areas where you wouldn't least suspect it, where it already got the lowest of crime rates, the most you may come across is a robbery or two, typically, or at least according to the numbers in the YouTube videos I have seen. You know, there's a channel called Active Self-Protection that shows, I believe, at this point, potentially hundreds of thousands of shootings. Typically robbers, they're not coming to kill anyone, they just want stuff that they could probably flip or sell so they could survive. So typically once you throw a couple bullets their way, they're going to get the hell on because they really don't care about whatever they're trying to steal more than their own life. Another tip I want to add is to make sure, you know, when you're also carrying, let's just say unconventionally, you know, the waistband holster, make sure you add a little bit more, you know, just make sure you're a little bit more situationally, for lack of better words. I'm not even sure that's correct, but make sure you add a little bit more situational awareness to yourself, for lack of better words, if that makes sense. Just make sure you're watching your surroundings a little bit more. You know, I'm not saying paranoid, but a quick turn your head and look around 360 could help you do wonders when it comes to being robbed or just overall detecting threats. And if you can manage between being paranoid and being situationally aware, you know, it's almost, in other words, see it as being an investigator, looking out for stuff that could be a potential danger versus being worried about potential danger. Because, you know, obviously, as I'd agree, most of y'all aren't purposely, for the most part, going in places where it may be dangerous unless unless you may have to, of course. You know, I've heard some of y'all working in bad work areas, according to the comments in short. But anyways, can you see it? If you can in the video, genuinely on some real shit, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be wasting you niggas' time. Alright? If you can't, I probably did just give it away. As I said I was already gonna previously do, is the jacket pocket. Like I said, personally, I wouldn't prefer to carry this way unless, you know, you got something as a precaution. And once again, if it wasn't for this 12-pound trigger pull, then you know it's a magazine disconnect. I could do that. I personally wouldn't carry it this way. So unless you've done some research on your pistol and you know you have a type of trigger that's safe, whether that's double action versus that's a dual on a fire striker, maybe you'll be a little bit more safer, or at least around a heavier trigger pull, let's say 6 pounds, like a Ruger LCP. You know, those are pocket pistols, and they're perfect for pocket carry for that reason, or to be carried unconventionally, even on a ankle. Or you know, you don't even have to worry about that going off in times of stress unless your reflex is to automatically pull the trigger. You know, luckily I've had my own personal experiences where I've had to practice my trigger discipline. So as of now, I could have a little bit more faith in myself when I carry. But like I said, if this isn't feeling safe for you, despite whatever features you may have on your gun, once again, fuck it. Don't ignore everything I just said. This right here is a wave you've already probably done seen in movies, you know. You probably could predict it, you know, obviously, if you're familiar with the jacket brand, or put two together as to why I switched out my jacket, or seen in movies, is obviously inside the jacket. Inside the jacket pocket. Like I said, I may only feel safe due to the features on my weapon. The furthest I'll go anywhere like this is upstairs to the 3rd floor and sit on the stairs and maybe edit pictures on my phone, or scroll through pictures on my camera at the most, or maybe to the mailbox at the most. But typically, outside of my apartment complex, I'm not carrying like that. Another way I wish to show y'all, I can't do it as of now. You know, I don't have the quote-unquote gear for it, even though it's quote-unquote unconventional that I see popular down here. For those who don't know, I live in Decatur, Georgia. You know, guns is a pretty normal thing, or just overall in the South. You know, you can even hear stories of it from Florida to Alabama to Texas to Tennessee to North and South Carolina and Georgia, obviously. You know, and that is with PDS or compression shorts. Do I advise you to carry it that way? Fuck no. But there's people with no charges, no criminal history, that could not buy their gear, or only knew based off of what they seen on TV, or what their friends may be showing them, or whatever they feel like may be cool. The only time I'd advise you carry like that is if you just simply cannot get your hand on your gear, lost it, broke it, and you feel like you have the need to carry, like I said, to make sure that you're safe when you don't live in the best of neighborhood on your way to work. I will show pictures of that on the screen.